Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm the host, Roy Canny, and with me, as always, is Kent.
Hello.
Courtney.
Hi.
And Adam.
Hello. Yeah.
We are missing Matt, who may be joining us in just a little bit. And then Rob, I think, has fled the country. I don't remember exactly what he did, but he fled the country.
Yep.
Hopefully got his kilt in time. I can't wait to see pictures of that and his new haircut.
We're going to have a kilt stream, all kilt stream.
going.
Everybody has to wear a kilt on the stream. Kent, do you have a kilt?
Not yet. I think we'll probably have to go after Adam gets back.
Rob needs to bring us back all kilts, and we can all wear kilts. Honestly, I shouldn't say that too loud, or else Ruth will be trying to make me wear a kilt to the wedding or something. I don't know.
Hey,
she said, "Yep," and I thought she was asleep. Dang it. But yeah.
Tell Ruthie I'll send her a picture of me and my wedding in my full kilt.
Oh, Adam said he's going to send you a picture of him and his wedding in his full kilt.
Yep.
She said, no way.
I want to see that picture too.
Prince Charles jacket. I'll dig it up for you guys. Yeah.
You have to subscribe to his Only Kilts.
Hey, that's a good idea. TM.
But yeah, so hey, we are here today to talk about, some news, some games we've been playing, and we're going to talk a little bit about some conventions. Because me and Kent and Courtney just came back from Dice Tower East. I saw you guys like twice. And that's probably my fault. I'm a very busy person. My kids were there, so I was watching them most of the time. But I saw you guys playing a game. I don't remember what you were playing. You're playing a game when I walked up.
I don't remember what it was when you came by.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
And then you came by when I was playing a game.
Yeah.
I also don't remember what that was. So.
And then I tried to text you, but there's no internet signal in that convention
hall.
Oh,
really?
So,
Dang.
Nothing ever went through, and it was just tough to meet up.
I remember talking to you at the beginning about, oh, yeah, we should meet up. And then we didn't actually even play anything, which actually makes me sad. But out of all the people on the podcast, I probably see Kent and Courtney more than the rest of the crew. So, But hey, we'll talk about convention stuff here soon. But I guess we should get into some news. Actually, let me click the button over here to the news. Sweet. Well, the first thing on here... I know a bit about this, but also I guess Kent added this into the news here, so if you want to take it away.
Yeah, so I know a little bit about this too. I mainly added this for Rob's benefit, although Rob is not here.
Rob, where you at?
But this is a game called Let's Hit Each Other with Fake Swords from the Exploding Kittens Company. And this is, I guess, a follow-up sort of to...
Throw a
burrito, or what was the other one? There's another one too. I can't remember the name.
Throw avocado.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And these were the ones Rob had bought those, and he was all about those games. So I thought this would really appeal to Rob and to really, anybody who wants to have silly fun. But it's an Eric Lang game, which is pretty interesting to me. So it's basically it's a set collection card game where you're trying to collect sets of the same color cards, but you are all holding a fake sword. I'd like to see the size of these things and how they fit in the box. But
probably gonna be pretty small, I would think.
Yeah, I would hope so.
They might be inflatable because the caveman game has an inflatable club.
That'd be a nightmare that blows up every single time you play the game.
They're
foam.
I think they're foam. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're foam. But anyway, you're gonna simultaneously aim your sword, or you're gonna do a countdown. You're gonna point your sword at a set of cards. You're gonna if you're the only one pointing at a set of cards, you're going to collect those cards for your set. Otherwise, if two people are pointing to a set of cards, then the first player, or like the leader, or whatever the term is going to pick two players aiming at the cards to fight. And they're going to use the swords to sort of battle each other, but the cards dictate what they have to do in that battle. So it's going to be like all sorts of weird acts and things you have to do. I'm sure family friendly, I mean when I say that. But you just do all kind of silly stuff, and you're trying to win the cards. So it just seemed like silly fun. It's not really my style of game, but I thought it would definitely appeal to the gamers who are interested in that kind of silly craziness. And I could see injuries happening. Yeah, accidentally in the heat of battle with
So if Rob's playing this, keep Scotty far away from him.
Yeah,
exactly.
Rob is in the chat in Ireland. What's up, Rob?
Oh gosh, no, he's not. Is he?
He is. He says it's 2 a.m. there.
Oh,
he needs to go to bed, and then Karen's supposed to keep us in line. Not gonna happen. I mean, maybe if you ask nicely, maybe.
We miss you, Rob. Send pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, that's just let's see each other with fake swords.
The funny thing is, like this, I mean, I guess it
Coming
makes sense because Eric Lang was with Exploding Kittens for a while, but this is an Eric Lang co-design.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
fun. And the fact of like, oh, it's kind of like fencing a little bit, but I do wonder if it should be let's hit each other with fake daggers if they're that small, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to
We'll have
be
to
like
see.
a rogue.
They're gonna figure something out and get it in that. Or maybe the box is just huge.
It could
Yeah.
be.
But yeah, I can see this as like, oh, you have to do it with your off hand, or oh, you have to do it with a hand behind your back, or oh, you have to do it, you know. I saw that there was one where you both had to throw your swords and then grab the opponent's sword and then use that sword to like hit your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
Like,
can definitely see people
Spin around and
videoing,
stuff.
recording their gameplays and like doing all sorts of silliness and
it's
crazy
kind of
stuff.
like fencing. I could see people
Yeah.
getting really into this. I went to Guildhall, which is a game store here in South Florida for the first time, and they were having a lightsaber like duel day, and there were people dressed up in all like fencing outfits, or sometimes like, you know, they'd have a Darth Vader mask on instead of like the fencing mask, and they were doing like actual lightsaber duels, and there was someone there judging them like each time of like who hit who, and like you had to hit in center mass, kind of like fencing. I'm like, this is pleasantly nerdy, you know?
It's kind of like a LARPer's alternative. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some
That's so
friends that were
seriously.
into LARP that I used to play D&D with, but we never actually did LARPing together. And I feel like if I would have actually joined into that world, I might have gotten too deep. Who knows? I want to throw a Nerf ball and pretend like it's a magic missile. I don't know. But yeah, that looks fun. The next one, here's another Eric Lang game. I Heart Manatees.
Yep. So this one is a competitive game where you are kind of doing some tile laying and you're building a little manatee area to hold manatees in. But it seems fairly light. It's from Buffalo Games, who've put out like what they put out. Like I think they put out the recent Phil Walker Harding game, the Volcano game. I forget what it was called, Ono Volcano, and they put out some like summer camp games. So they put some decent games, but they're like family weight, maybe a little bit lighter. But this one looks like a tile layer where you're kind of drafting tiles from columns, and those columns like dictate kind of different actions you get to do, but they're also tiles used to build up your little area for your manatees. So you're trying to get spaces for your manatees, you're trying to move your manatees around, and then people are going to send sharks over to your area to eat your manatees. So sharks love manatees too, I think. And that's kind of the gist of the game. It seems pretty cute, pretty simple, pretty fun. It's got some pretty nice components.
Yeah.
It looks really
Little
cool on the
manatee heads.
table.
I talked to Eric about this at BGG Spring, and he was showing me the game. Well, he was showing me and a couple other people the game. I didn't actually get a chance to play it, but he was telling me how much he grew up in Florida apparently, and like grew up around manatees, and this is like his love letter to manatees as like one of his favorite animals. I know he loves pandas too. I guess he just likes cute looking, not so smart animals, which I mean makes sense.
I guess that does
But
work.
that fits. But that's awesome. Like the endangered species there, and like the cute little manatees. It looked like a tile laying game where you're trying to match the different sides and get the manatees to come to your little habitat, and then the sharks will go on your opponents to like scare the manatees over to your habitat and things like that. You know, so. Big cute little tile laying game.
Yeah, it looks fun.
There's something in there too about like taking pictures of the manatees. Maybe you have to have it set up in certain ways, and if you do that, you get points and things like that.
That reminded me of Reef a little bit in the way that like you've got to set certain. I think you have to design or have certain patterns maybe, or certain tiles in a certain way or whatever, and meet the conditions of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played this one, so I just got like a super quick thing. I mean, listening to Eric talk about it, he was just going on and on about manatees. So I learned more about Eric's love for manatees, as in I Heart Manatees, than I learned about the actual game itself.
Maybe next time he'll do I Heart Pandas.
Yeah,
there you go.
Maybe he'll do that.
I'm here for that sequel. You can do pandas, then koalas, sloths, all sorts of things.
I Heart Sloths would be
can't
awesome.
defend themselves.
I love it.
Yeah.
The next one here is Deep Regrets.
Oh, I backed this.
And a fortunate fishing game.
Yeah, so this one, you want to talk about this one, Adam?
I can a little bit. It's been a while since I've watched I think there's a full rules explanation on the Kickstarter, but it's sort of like a little collect sets, build an engine type thing, where if you look at it from afar, it almost reminds me of the tableau from Wingspan, except for you are you're moving down in depths to collect cards versus collecting them in different environments. And then I believe you roll dice to get your purchasing power versus like the shared dice. I think you might have your own dice, or is it a dice pool? I can't
don't know
recall.
the specifics of how it plays. I just saw the look of it really caught my eye.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
Craziness.
It's
of it.
right
It's
up
like-
my alley. You're a fisherman in Scotland, and you're going out in the dregs, and you're pulling out different kind of Cthulhu-inspired fish.
Oh,
And
wow.
you can choose to eat them or abandon them. And then there's like consequences for eating them, and there's consequences for abandoning them, and you can eventually go mad, and that'll change
Oh, that's
the market
kinda cool.
price you can get for them.
Yeah, it sounds like you do some shady stuff and you have a lot of regrets and you start going crazy and it like changes what you're supposed. I don't know. It changes your
Yeah, it's
goals
kinda
or
cool.
whatever.
You have like a row of regrets that build up different ways that you interact with the board, and then you have a row of actions from eating the fish, I think, that change the way you interact with it. It looks really interesting, but it also, if I recall, it doesn't seem terribly complex. Like when I say it looks like Wingspan, I'm betting it plays in half the time.
Well, I was
I don't know.
worried. It does say 30 minutes per player,
Mhm.
so that and it goes to 1 to 5. So it said like,
Oh,
I think it was,
geez.
like- yeah. So
Per
I was
player?
a little bit concerned about that. But it's designer and artist are the same person, so it's like they're kind of, I guess their passion project, their vision, and the artwork is really kind of cool and creepy and just like it's got this really nice vibe to it. And I like the Cthulhu inspired stuff, and like it's set in the 1900s, and it really just caught my attention. It just is crazy looking.
From an art standpoint and stuff, it was like same for me. I was like, I'm backing this. This is so adorable and creepy, but like in a fun way.
Yeah.
Which I love, like things that are creepy fun, like just a little creepy, but you're laughing at it because it's creepy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. So hopefully it actually shows up by next spring. We'll see.
Yeah,
Probably this time next year.
Wonder if they
next one-
account for Chinese New Year.
Oh, yeah, if they account for
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if he's designed anything before. I wasn't familiar with him, Kent. You might know better than
I'm
me,
not
but
familiar with him either. He's got a few entries on Board Game Geek. I haven't tried any of his other games. He doesn't have a ton of things listed, but it's like maybe 3 or 4 different things total.
All right, that explains it. Because I was surprised that the game seemed really thoughtful, and the illustrations are they're like top-notch illustrations.
Yeah, for sure.
So my head was sort of like, where's this guy been? Like this seems like someone you'd know about. So hopefully the game is really good.
Yeah.
The next game here is from Ivy Studios. I like a bunch of their different games, and this is a current Kickstarter called Brink. I don't know if you guys have looked at this. I bet you'd like this game, Kent, I feel like. But this is
I saw what it looked like on the table, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so it is
looks
a
really
worker placement game that kind of has hexes that gives me a little bit of a Catan vibe, but also it has kind of like area control. So there's interesting things where you're putting out your ships. You have a ship that can give you basically 1 resource and count for 1 point for like controlling areas, a ship that's like 2 and can control 2 areas, or a ship that's 3. And then you're doing all these things. You can get different types of resources. So you're using resources to kind of upgrade your ships and get all these different like other like, I don't know, I guess they're like advisors or something like that along those lines. And then you can get different upgrades and things like that to make it so your ship can get more resources or to have more combat value, because at the end of each round, everybody's going to be bidding on which colors are going to score different points. There's also going to be like these kind of like agenda type cards that are going to like change up how that scoring works, and like, oh, if this thing gets first, this happens, or if this thing gets second, that happens. And everybody's going to have resources that they can only spend to try to make that kind of like color location like better, and those are depending on the ones that you placed your actual ships on. But then there's also one of the things that I thought was really cool about the game is there are certain resources you get that go on the outside of your like player area, because all of your resources are kept secret behind a player screen. There are ones that go on the outside and you can't use those resources yourself, but you can trade those resources to other players. So it like has this interesting like forced trading almost. It's like you might give somebody a better deal because you can't use it yourself, but you can get something from them. You know, it's going to be really good for them, but it might be like good for you too if you're able to use that sort of stuff. But yeah, I really like Ivy Studios stuff. This is kind of Euro area control-ish game. But yeah, you play like 3 rounds and then that's kind of it. And you see who has the most points at the end of that. But yeah, it seemed pretty cool.
And you did play it, or was this just?
I was running the stream.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw it played several times. We Austin from Ivy Studios brought this to Dice Tower East as well and taught a bunch of people. So, but yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks, the production is just great. All their
games look
productions
really
look so good.
I really enjoy Moonrakers, and this is like one of their Moonrakers universe games.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I think Moonrakers is a lot more like negotiation and seeing who's going to go on these different missions. This one has a little bit of that with like the trading and stuff like that, but it's more of like, you know, you have to control the correct areas, get the correct resources to upgrade yourself in the correct way to earn victory points, you know.
So is it like the same universe? Is that the idea? No.
And the universe is space. Yes, yeah. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a space game.
All right.
I like Space
it looks
Euros.
neat.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I really enjoy Cryo. I enjoy
Hey,
Alien
Cryo.
Frontiers.
I wanted to play Cryo so bad.
You haven't played Cryo yet?
Oh, I love Cryo. I wanted to play it last week at the con and didn't get a chance.
Ah, you should have asked me for that one.
Yeah, Cryo's great.
You probably texted me and I didn't get it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So that is Brink from Ivy Studios. It looks fun.
Cool.
The next one here, I know we've talked about this before, but I don't know. It's live now, so I put it in here because there was 2 empty slots, so I put a couple games in here. And I put in DC United. You know, we're fans of the Marvel United. I have a massive amount of stuff that I haven't even played yet. Mm-hmm. But, you know, now they have DC characters. They got the Batman. They got the Superman. They got Gorilla Grodd. I mean, if you don't have Gorilla Grodd, are you even playing the game?
Yeah, watching these stretch goals is making me realize how little I know about DC. I think I'm just like, who is that? Who is that? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is
either. It's so funny because like I know a ton of comic book characters just from all of my HeroClix days because I used to get tons and tons of HeroClix, and I mean I didn't know about most of these people either. But then after playing HeroClix a bunch, I'm like I see a bunch of names I remember. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen that character in this and seen that character in that. It's kind of cool how like even if you're not a comic book fan, like the board games can educate you a little bit on the characters, which is kind of fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if there's a character you think is really cool or has cool powers you can like kind of relate to. You're like, oh, let me go look up what this character does, what they're all about. Yeah. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when the board games are inspired by comics. What is it?
You can just have DC has so many wild heroes. I feel like you can just have you can have fun with it. You don't have to know them to have fun with it. I feel like
DC has better villains than it even has heroes.
I would concur with that, yeah.
It's like Marvel has really good heroes, DC has really good villains. So now we have United in both IPs so you can do the crossover.
I'm really curious how this one's going to go being on GameFound as opposed to Kickstarter, just because like the way they run their campaigns is very heavily focused on stretch goals and then adding more funds from when they add new add-ons and stuff. So I'm curious if they're going to run it very much like that, how they have in the past, or if it's going to be a different rollout or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I should like go to the actual game and like look at it. But yeah, because I don't know what characters like DC characters that aren't in here yet. Like, would you guys actually like to see? Are there any like?
Courtney, you mentioned Condiment King. He's from Batman. No, he was in
Lego Batman.
It's in Lego Batman. Have you guys seen Lego Batman?
That's Kent's favorite Batman.
So they go through all these ridiculous, like very or not well known villains. He's listing off like a whole bunch of bad guys, and they're all in the movie. And then at the end, he's like, "And they, are you sure all those are real? They're all probably worth a Google." But anyway, it's ridiculous. But Condiment King is in there, and there's a racer, and I forget. Killer Moth, and like there's all sorts of weird ones you've probably never heard of in there.
And the minis look really good.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. The Teen Titans expansion looks fire. Oh man, I need to back this, Rob. Do I need to back this?
I just love the base box has like so many good awesome characters. Yeah.
It's like the
Joker, right? The whole Justice League, not a whole Justice League, but it's pretty good. Yeah, it's possible. Mm-hmm.
Is that King Shark cool. Yet?
I don't know about I don't think so.
I gotta put him in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking I want to see more Batman villains. There's a lot of cool Batman villains, I think. Yes.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. That $100 pledge level, I feel like, is pretty good value. Yeah. I think it doesn't come with the Teen Titans expansion, I believe. I don't think the Super Friends does, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They look really good. They look really good. Oh, this one's super tempting.
Oh yeah. Constantine would be good.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of that. I also wonder if it's a game found thing or not.
I mean, I'm in the Simon United like Facebook fan group because I just like looking at the miniatures and stuff like that. But a lot of people have been on there talking about it and like saying how they're like kind of I have plenty. I don't need any more. So I feel like I mean, and there's definitely people that are like. People are definitely saying, "Oh, I'm all in," but there's a lot of people on there saying, "Okay, I've already got way too much than I can play with. Like I'm not doing it, like kind of thing." So.
And if you don't break the games down to smaller boxes, like get rid of those plastic trays, they take up a lot of room.
Yeah,
a lot of room.
I mean, they're like taller than me. I feel like when you get them all stacked up to each other, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I do the sacrilegious thing with Simon games that I have expansions and stuff for, and I just put stuff in Ziploc bags and put them in their own box. Like my Zombicide,
dump it all in the one box, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Especially since I have some painted miniatures.
Yeah,
even my painted ones, I spray them with a clear coat, and they're all in a gallon Ziplocs, like organized by miniature type, and they're in a box, and then like the big dragons are loose in a separate box, and then all my tile, like they don't get that beat up. I haven't had anything break off. I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
I feel like I need to play Marvel Zombies with like all my kids and see how they like it, because Marvel Zombies is just like a move forward dice chucking game for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can manage all the difficult stuff, and they can just say, "Go and kill that." Roll the dice.
I mean, honestly, it's not even that difficult. It's like, okay, it's the bad guy's turn. We spawn some more, and then they move forward and try to attack you.
That's Zombicide, beer and pretzels, right?
Yep.
I mean,
I think Marvel United is more complex than Zombicide. So
yeah,
it's good. It's good stuff. But yeah, that is our news. I guess we can get into what we've been playing. Oh, I recognize one of these games: Star Wars Pandemic.
Yeah, I actually I think I've talked about this game on here before. I haven't played a ton because I've been out of town a bunch, and then I'm going to be out of town again.
Matt showed up and you guys didn't even tell me. Let me actually add him to the screen.
Oh yeah, Matt's here. You didn't see it? Yeah, Matt's here.
I always have our thing up and not like the names. So like let me put Matt on the screen.
Yeah, Matt's here.
Matt, we missed you.
I was hoping I could just be shoved somewhere into the logo.
Your face just popping out.
There we go. Now
just
we
like,
have Matt.
Just like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, your games.
Yeah, Matt's here. Dude, the Star Wars Clone Wars Pandemic it's super good. I've talked about it on here before, so I don't want to belabor re-explaining how Pandemic games play, because it is effectively a Pandemic game with a few extra rules. If you're somehow listening to this,
dice combat.
Yes, it's Pandemic that adds dice combat, and really my two favorite Pandemics end up being this and the Cthulhu Pandemic, because they both have dice chucking. So you have like the constant suck of the cards coming out, and then you have this ability to mitigate it or make it way worse with the dice, which is, I think, so much fun. And then this game, like, you do draw certain cards that are like allies, and they give you boosts as you play and stuff. So you can get Mace Windu, and he's going to help you out, and it's a really cool, fun take on Pandemic. And I think if you're wanting a co-op game and you find like working for the CDC boring or maybe triggering because you don't want to think about a actual pandemic anymore. Getting Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu or getting Pandemic Clone Wars is really, really good, and my kids like the Clone Wars one a lot, so it's an easy play to get at my house. So we played that a little bit here in between.
I think it's my favorite Pandemic, other than the like legacy ones. I mean, but so hard to judge like legacy ones up against like other games because I'm not gonna go back and play those over and over.
Yeah, and you can play this in like an hour, and
it's.
I think it's my favorite. I mean, I've never finished a Pandemic Legacy. I
finished 0.
Yeah, I've enjoyed them. I like the Pandemic system, like in general. Like I really enjoy sort of that. It's now just to me the Matt Laycock, the just kind of the Deck of Doom type games. I like that co-op games that are against the Deck of Doom. So like that and like Eldritch Horror and stuff. So I'm just a big sucker for it. It's really, really good. It goes on sale at like Target sometimes for like $35, which is a steal for the miniatures and for the components that you're gonna get in the game. And it's a very, very good time. So if you either aren't that attracted to Pandemic as a co-op game, I think it's a good option for a Star Wars fan. I also think it's something that freshens up that if you've played a ton of base Pandemic or just Pandemic with the original expansions. And my other game on here is Last Light, because I did get another Last Light plan, which I haven't played in a while. It's on this. I just put it on the same slide this time because, like I said, I didn't get a bunch of plays in, but I had some friends that were like, "Man, we are still waiting for ours to come because I sold a bunch. Roy, you can pay me later." And then
I'll give you your finder's fee.
Thank you. We need to get a play in, so we got a couple plays in the other night and had a really great time. Like I said, it's we've talked nice enough about Roy. Forget it. He doesn't need here anymore.
I want to play sometime when I'm not actually teaching people the game. Like, I want to actually play the game. Like, so many times I play, and it's just like I'm demoing or doing whatever, just showing people how to play, as opposed to, like, actually playing the game. Every time I actually play the game, I still get wrecked. But I get to feel like I'm actually trying to do. Well, yeah, she will strategically wreck me. But plenty of other people do too, but that's fun.
Yeah, we've had some real wild ones just with some of the card combos lately. I got people now who are just like they're like desperately looking to stack their movement abilities now. So it's like playing with a few of the same people. And they're like, oh man, as soon as I'm getting my extra movement, y'all are dead.
I dig for like Galactic Monument more than anything. I'm like, give me tapping for light. You can kill me off the board, but I'm still gonna make some.
Yep. Galactic Monument's huge. It doesn't seem like a lot at first, but then if you get a few rounds in, it's like, oh shoot, like that is.
It's just insurance. Crushing. It's insurance for when people wipe you off the board completely.
Yeah, which happens to me a lot. Like I'm always picking stupid fights when I play because I think that's the fun way to play.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, you kill 4 dudes, you get some light. Why not?
Yeah,
I'll talk about this more when I talk about what I played because I didn't actually play it, but I did some cool stuff with it. But hey, I think it is Matt's turn. Maybe does Matt have Matt played Wingspan?
Well,
surprise!
Thanks, Kent. But, no, we me and Rob actually did get to play D&D with the group a week or 2 ago. I don't remember. Time is irrelevant. But yeah, we played that, and we're
Was this after the game where he pulled you all aside, or?
What do you mean?
I remember the last time we talked about it was where he was pulling you all into a room individually.
Oh yeah. So from that we were in prison. We got interrogated. There was a fight club. We escaped.
Wait, are you supposed to talk about that?
Yeah, but it's fine. We're not in that country anymore. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so this campaign started. We were on a flying ghost ship, and we're trying to speed through as quick as we can because, Sammy is pregnant and going to have a baby soon. So we're trying to get to the end before she does.
That's funny.
And so we basically hopped on this ship. The ship flew us where we needed to go for the next step in the campaign. We're there, and it's this sort of bunch of riddles and trials and stuff to get this holy water off this mountain. And then we start doing that, and of course, in typical Rob fashion, it's very much, hey, we've got 8 sips of water. There's 6 of you guys. All 8 sips have to be drank. So you guys do that. Figure out how you want to do it. Each sip may have some issues that come with it, but all the sips have to be drank, otherwise everybody dies. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. So it starts off, everybody's doing their thing. Some people are like, oh, I lost half my health taking a sip, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is crazy. And so I go take my first sip, and my first sip is, hey, you cannot talk until you are done with the main quest line of the campaign. And for each word you say, you take 1d10 lightning damage. So I'm like, cool, I'm mute. I'm effectively mute. This is great. Everybody's going around. They keep doing some sips. And our wizard takes a sip, and his little challenge was he's dead and can start rolling death saves. But Rob gave him advantage on 2 of the rolls, and he could use that advantage whenever he liked to. So he starts out, he uses advantage on both the first rolls, clears both of those easily, and then the next 3 under a 10 each time. So he just dies.
Wow.
And then we were like, okay, cool, this is problematic. So then I was like, well, I'll just take another sip of water, because I mean, I can't get much worse than I am. And then I took another sip, and now I'm blind until I'm done with the main quest line. So I'm a blind mute cleric, so I cannot cast any spells or see what's going on at all. But we're getting to the end. It's gonna be a good time.
You're like,
is Rob going to
yeah,
make you
that's
wear a
perfect.
blindfold for the rest of the campaign?
Were
No,
any of the
I'm
things
just gonna
good?
go sit. Well, I mean, we got the thing that we needed.
But were any of the sips good? I mean, did anybody get anything good from those?
none
Then
of
why
them.
did you take another one?
None of them. Well, because we had to take the 8, and we had 6 people initially, even though we left with 5. So we somebody
I don't
had
understand
to
the
double up
situation
something.
where you had
Somebody
to take
do-
this.
Okay.
And we were originally going to be like, well, the barbarian's got all the health, so let's just give it to him. And then things started seeming like a little weird, so we started to be a little bit more tactical about it.
You just need one person to chug it all and then be done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, it would have worked, except for the one that reduced.
Wait. So
the
someone
flicker.
died and you guguys continue to drink it? Why didn't you just give it the rest of it to the guy who was dead?
Oh, we didn't think about that. I was trying to be heroic. I'm like, well, I can't talk. I'll just keep drinking. It can't get much worse. The only thing that Rob had in there that was an instant death was if you drank one of the ones that took half your health, and then there were 2 of those in there out of the 8. So if you happened to drink 2 and got those back to back, you were just dead with no saving throw. And I was like, okay, all right, cool.
Seems great.
But that was D&D. We got all the components we need. Now we're just heading to this island somewhere to do a thing, which Rob has told me about, but I don't know if any of the other people know what's going on. But it'll be a
You
good
can't talk about it to him anyway.
We played
Yeah,
D&D at work today, and the main character, we found them, and we found them a couple times now, and we're chasing them down. Everybody, all the main quests lead to us fighting this main boss or whatever, and we keep running into them, and they keep disappearing and running off. I'm just the first time we first time we ran into her, she disappeared. And the second time we ran into her, we cut off her nose. This last time, I'm we're going to wreck every single one of her senses. So I'm shooting magic missile just straight at her ears. Just because I'm we got her nose. She can't smell. How about she can't hear? So I'm every single time, I'm attacking her ears. And then after that, and then she disappears. I'm she needs to come back because we need to take her tongue, take her eyes. We're going to beat her senseless. And then they all got mad at me for that pun.
She can't run away.
Yeah, I was going to say, eventually it's just...
She's flying! She doesn't even need legs!
Oh, well, take her wings then.
She doesn't have wings. She's a magic user, so she's just... I don't know.
Yeah, she'll come back for the final battle fully covered in bandages and a wheelchair, just you're just get her!
It's like Bowser. Just keep
Beat her
coming
down.
back.
Yeah, she was holding a baby, and Tom's oh, if you shoot at her, then she might drop the baby. I'm it's a human baby? I'm a lizard. I don't care. I'm a dragonborn. What's it to me?
Oh wow.
And then the baby falls and then like lands peacefully on the ground. I'm like, that's fine. The baby was fine the whole time.
Oh wow.
So, but yeah, no, it'll be okay.
What are you gonna do?
Hey, congrats on that baby to passing that dex check, though. That was-
I felt bad outside of the game. Inside the game, my character didn't care. No, I'm just kidding. So, but yeah, it's fine. It happens. It happens. D&D is crazy.
Yep.
Kent, you'll never know. You'll never know, Kent. You'll never know what it is to have fun playing tabletop games. You'll never
I
know.
will not. Never.
You'll just not have fun. You'll be sitting there angrily playing your Lorcana cards because you can't hit on curve. You know, you're never gonna know the bliss of D&D.
Now it's because they
Of giggling
trash
that
talk
you're
you.
mutant blind and that your companion just died and just still having fun with it. You'll never know the joy of that. But yeah, no, it's fun.
We'll make Kent play D&D eventually. It's gonna happen.
Someday. Oh, I played Cosmic Encounter at Dice Tower East. I should switch back to the
nice.
screen where you can actually see it. I love Cosmic Encounter. It's in my top 10 now, and I've been having a blast with it. And I taught it to Scotty for the first time. So we were walking around the Dice Tower library. I was with the kiddos. I'm like trying to ask what we should play. I wanted to play something like, I didn't look at the kid shelf. I was trying to find something they're a little bit older now. They can play a little bit different games. And this group of guys came up and they're like, hey, you know Cosmic Encounter? Can you teach it to us? And I'm like, I have my kids with me, but if they can play, that's fine. And so they're like, sure, let's play. So me and Violet were on a team together, and then Scotty was playing. And then I taught all these guys how to play Cosmic Encounter, and they've never played before. So it was like this craziness of like teaching Scotty how to play and teaching them how to play. And then it was just cool seeing them like start to get what the game was and how zany the game was. And normally I always teach the game where it's like, I don't care how I win, as long as I'm part of the people that get to 5. It's all fair game. You know, I'll negotiate with you for the win. I'll ally with everybody else except for the one person we're having a counter with to like win all together. Like the more people that win, the merrier. And I'm always trying to push everybody's score up so that I can ally with them and we can win together. Anyway, so we get halfway through the game and a couple players were lagging behind. We kind of got to where we were all kind of like at 3 and 4. I was at 4 with a couple other guys, and Scotty had encountered me, and he was at 3, and I just let Scotty win the combat against me. I'm like, I'm not even going to ask any allies. I want Sky to be at 4 so that me and the other guys that are at 4 can hopefully like all ally together to win the game. So I got Scotty there. I was like, Scotty, I'm just going to die because I'm not going to like worry about this. But on your next encounter, invite me to like win with you if you encounter somebody else who's not me, then we can win. And he's like, cool, yeah. So I like let him have a planet. So he was at 4 with us. And then he encountered another player, and Scotty's like, oh, hey, just want to negotiate for the win, me and you? And I'm like, Scotty, like, no, like, you're supposed to let me ally. He's like, sure, we don't need any allies. So then me, Scotty, and this other player ended up allying for the win and just negotiating for the win. And we were all the rest of us were just left in the dust. And I'm like, Scotty, you betrayed me. I got you to the point to where you could win, and then you just negotiated for the win. I kind of let it happen, though, just because it was fun. But yeah, they got to really see what the game could do, which was kind of cool, seeing how there was a little bit of betrayal and stuff like that there, you know, so. But yeah, it was pretty fun.
Perfectly.
And then a moment.
Scotty was always bragging about how he betrayed his dad in Cosmic Encounter, so it was fun. But yeah, and then the other thing that I did is the team at Dice Tower East, Camilla and them and Tom and them were asking if I wanted to do a Last Light event at the con. And I mean, obviously the answer is yes, because why would I not? I just didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to do like a teach and play thing. So I got with Gray Fox and they sent me a bunch of copies to run for the teach and play. So I ran 8 tables of Last Light at the same time. I set them all up, got all these round tables set up, set them all up. And then I taught 32 people how to play Last Light at the same time. And I've never taught people how to play the game without them actually sitting at the table before. So it was like a very interesting experience of having to be like, all right, on the left side of the board, you see that like there was just different ways. Instead of being able to point at stuff or do different stuff, I had to be very descriptive about what I was teaching. But the cool thing is like everybody learned the game. There was some questions, but there was pretty minimal questions overall. I was just running from table to table, helping people out. We had all 8 of the tables. I kind of did this as like a teach and playoff thing, where all 8 of the tables, whoever won from those tables, I wrote their name down, and then we all joined together for a like one last 8-player game. And then the winners, the first, second, and third of the 8-player game all got trophies as well. So I just did it up like as epic as I could, and I had the person who won. This was like their second time ever playing Last Light, and they ended up winning the game in a tournament because I gave them a copy of the game for winning. So it was pretty fun. But yeah, they all had a blast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was wild to teach that many people at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool because so many people had fun with it. I was worried because it was like, I'd never done that before or whatever. I could teach Last Light with my eyes closed, but still, it's a different thing, like not being able to be at every single table. And there was one table that had a little bit slower players, but even they finished within time, which was kind of cool. It's like, oh, wow. And the 8-player game that we played with mostly all brand new people to the game, this was only their second game ever, ended in like 58 minutes.
Really?
Yes. So yeah, you can play that game so fast when you know how to play it. Because they had all just played it, so then they're all playing it again. They blazed through the thing. It was amazing. So yeah, I'm super stoked for, and like so many of them were like, oh, I had the game and I hadn't played it before, so now I'm gonna play my copy and teach it to more people. And there are people that are like, oh, where do I buy this? And I'm like, if you want the retail copy, you can get it. And they're like, we don't want the retail, we want the deluxe like Adam because we need to be like him, So yeah, it's cool. But yeah, that was fun. Next we can talk about Kent's game.
Yeah,
Respectfully.
So, this is a game. So it's called Master of Respect. It's a game from 2016 came out in Japan. Hobby Japan put it out, and I'm not super familiar with the designer. But it's one of those games that's not really, it doesn't have pretty good indie distribution in America. So it's one I'd heard about, but I wanted to try, and it's in the library. So that's definitely one of the benefits of going to
For sure.
that convention to try all these games that you may not be able to get easily. So I wanted to try it. And basically it is thematically you're representing a dojo and you have students and you're trying to kind of compete against the other dojos. And there's like a little, you're playing over 5 rounds, I believe, and at the end of each round, there's like a little, kind of like not a battle, like thematically there's a little battle that goes on. But essentially what you're doing is you have a player screen and you're putting these tiles over top of you have 3 different students you're going to be using each round. And that's kind of going to be like what actions each student does. And each student might have a strength or might have a little ability or something. And then once you've assigned your tiles, you kind of people just take turns doing actions, but then there's a follow mechanism. So you can show someone else respect by giving them a respect token. So when you use a respect, you kind of flip the token over, and then you get to do the action they took. So it's kind of like I like follow actions in games just because it keeps people engaged, and it keeps you and it gives you other options than just what you have in front of you. So it's kind of cool. And then if somebody buys like a really cool, powerful action, you can follow that action still. So it's basically just you go through that. You're doing actions with your little students. You're upgrading your students. You're obtaining new action tiles that like let you do better things. When you recruit new people to your dojo, and then usually when you get new recruits, they are not good, so they lose you points. But once you train them and you flip the card over, they become like way more powerful, but then they gain you points. So it's kind of makes sense. If you're bringing something new into your dojo, you want them to improve. So it's got some cool art. It's got some cool thematic elements, but it's just kind of a fun, simultaneous game. It's got a little bit of programming element to it. I feel like if you have to kind of plan ahead which action you're gonna do, which order, and then kind of plan on. You might have to change your plans a little bit depending on what you decide to follow, if you even have the ability to follow. But it was fun. It played about an hour, I would say. It's not super long, not super heavy, but it was just kind of neat and well done. And it's a fun kind of simultaneous reveal game where you do kind of programmed actions. So it's Master of Respect.
I love simultaneous. I love following. So this sounds fun.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
My only complaint with it was like it was only like 5 rounds, and so like by the time you got to the 5 rounds, you had like finally just upgraded some of your people, and so you were getting better action. So it was kind of it's hard to build up in any kind of engine.
It felt like it almost ended too quick.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh wow.
But that made it quicker, But it was like, it's just as we were ending, it's like I felt like my actions were getting better and better. But
by the time you got respectable, it was over.
It's like Scythe.
Yeah, luckily, Mike Delisio taught us how to play this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Otherwise, we would have been screwed.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike.
But it's fun. It's a fun little game. It's got a lot of cool stuff going on.
And then Courtney played a new game, Cities.
So we played Cities, which is from Phil Walker Harding, which I really like a lot of his games, and Steve Finn, who also does some really good games too. Kind of more, they both do kind of more lightweight games. But I think you'll love this one, Adam. It's
I was just gonna say.
tiles.
Looks like I would love it.
I was thinking about you when we were playing, because you're basically just drafting tiles. You're creating like a 3x3 grid of a city. So you're drafting the tiles to place out. You're drafting like what they call landmark tiles to put on the tiles that you're drafting out. You're drafting out and little building pieces that stack on top of each other to kind of create these buildings, and then you can draft out your scoring cards, which tell you like what you need to you're trying to create in your city to score points and stuff. So we played with 4 players, which was, I think, probably the best player count for this, because there's a lot of tension. Like everybody you can only pick one thing each round. Like you can only pick one scoring card, one tile, one landmark tiles, and then one group of those little buildings. So you're only going to get one. So then it's like trying to see which one's the best one to kind of when you go for, because like other people are going to grab up stuff quick. So, but it was a lot of fun. I really like this one. I think this is kind of remind me of some of his other Phil Walker Harding's other games like Neoville and Cloud City, but I thought it was like a better version of those.
All right.
So I
like Cloud City
really like this one. I think it's available for pre-order right now, so it's not quite out yet, but definitely look into it if you like tile laying games.
That's cool.
It's cool.
All right. Well,
Yeah, this just went in my Gaber Nerds shopping cart thing. So.
Yeah, no, I think you'll really like it, and it's really good and it's really quick, and
Yeah, I saw the pictures in the Google
Love the art.
document, and I was like, oh man, that's got my name on it. I love a little tiling city
I am
builder.
curious about the 2-player game.
Yeah, because we talked to Chris Yee about it, and he said it wasn't as good at 2, but
Yeah.
oh,
It was
gotcha.
really well. At 4, it was really good. Yeah. You know you're going to get one of each type of thing, but you know that you got better make a good choice on which one you want first, because the other ones may not be available or whatever. So it's
and
really
then
tough.
so one of the things I did like that I didn't mention is when you're drafting the tiles, like, so 3 of the things are face up, so you know what you're getting, and then the 4th is face down. So you've got kind of like a gamble tile or gamble scoring card or something that you don't know what you're going to get, which makes it kind of interesting too. It's like, okay, I don't really like any of those scoring tiles, or those aren't going to really work for me. Do I just gamble and maybe like pick the one that's face down and maybe I'll get lucky, or do I pick one that I know might kind of work? So that's kind of interesting. And then sometimes like you're getting that one because that's what nobody else picked, and so it actually ends up working really well for you because it's like, oh yeah, this is exactly actually what I needed. But sometimes it doesn't work out. But so that kind of made it a little more interesting than regular drafting, because a lot of times when you're just passing cards around, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I knew what's going to come back around. I've seen everything. I know what everybody's got, kind of. So that kind of added a little interesting element to it, not knowing what's underneath or what you're going to pull. So that kind of made a little gambling aspect to it, I think.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
those
sold.
games. All right. Well, I guess we can get into our topic, which is board game conventions. I know me and Courtney and who's the other guy? Oh, Kent. All just came back from Dice Tower East. But yeah, and we've all been to conventions together and separate. I
Yeah.
think the first time I ever met Adam was at a CMON Expo.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been all over the place. There's small conventions, there's large conventions. What would you say is your favorite kind of board game convention? Adam.
My favorite one? Oh my god.
Yeah, like what kind of like things do you look for at a convention? Like, is it more about game playing for you? Is it more about buying games? Is it about the events? Is it about seeing things you can't see other places? Is it about just straight up the people that are there? Like, it doesn't matter which one you're going to, but the people that you go with is more important, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a social battery thing for me. It's neat to meet and play with different people, and then it's neat to play a whole ton of games that I don't have access to. I think that's like the thing I'm most motivated by. It's cool to like go shop and like talk to some of the developers and things like that too. But I think at the end of the day, like the internet provides so much access to that type of thing that for me, it's just like, you know, when you're at one of these things and you end up like playing a couple games with like an unlikely group or something, you know, that to me could be pretty wild. And I think that's kind of the thing about like just any size convention. I don't necessarily need a huge one. I can just, you know, like I remember like playing a game with the guys from Gray Fox. I played what's the board game tables a bidding game where you have unlimited money? QE, yeah. Playing that with them, you know, like just like what a weird group that I ended up in there, or then being at like a little meetup in Chicago with Crystal years ago and running into people that knew her from her podcast, and then it's like just randomly playing with like this kind of like micro like fan group at a place. Like it's just kind of, I don't know. I think that's the kind of experience that I enjoy at them. More than anything for me, it's getting to meet people. You kind of go and you put yourself out there, and you got to be a little uncomfortable for a little bit, and sometimes, you know, that's a really rewarding experience. I mean, we did literally meet in person at a convention for the first time. Which was kind of weird. I remember being like, "Oh man, I've been listening to these guys for a long time, and then I'm just going to show up at this con and hang out like the whole time too." You know, me and you know, the joke Rob and I always had was like we were kind of like, "Are we brothers now?" You know, and really, you know, that's thanks to us being able to take kind of the thing that we had a shared interest in and materializing it in a real place so that everyone could gauge whether or not we were serial killers, which is it's really good. It's good to do in person, you know.
What about you, Matt? And why is it the destination food? No, I'm just kidding.
No, absolutely, it was 100% what I was going to say. I mean, look, I don't mind going to small cons that are, you know, right down the road from me, and you can hear the cows in the background. That's fine. Conversely, you know, I don't mind going to like a big old con like Gen Con. The activities that you do at the con, you know, con to con, it really sort of depends. But the one thing that I always think back on and go, man, that was a really good con, comes down to food. And
honestly, sharing meals with other gamers is cool.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's super cool, but like I still think about the cheese sticks that we got at that one random bar down an alleyway somewhere in Indianapolis. Gen Con was fun, but I don't have that many memories from the showroom floor. You know, it's like you play games with people and you do some other stuff, you buy some stuff, you spend some money you probably shouldn't. And then you just.
I remember the first time we were playing Go Cuckoo at Gen Con, like stacking the sticks up. That was fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one of the few memories that I have from that Gen Con of game playing. It was that. And then that game of Secret Hitler.
Oh my goodness. Where we caused Emerson to curse. That was hilarious.
Yeah. And yeah, like, you know, I feel like most of the times at cons, the memories for me are made between people and meals. And that's just it. I don't know. So I just love going to a place that's like a big city that's got a lot of variety and different things that you can go do. So if you're ever like, man, this is a lot of board games and a lot of nerds, I need to get some air, you can, you know, take a little walk and go find something interesting.
I had a wild breakfast with Roy and Crystal at that Orlando.
The Waffle House with the palm reading place. When I was at Dice Tower East, I drove by that place. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's the Waffle House I hung out with Adam and Crystal at. Yep,
I had the least amount of teeth out of any Waffle House I've ever been in.
I don't know why Crystal was like, we have to go to Waffle House, and I'm just like, I mean, okay. It was fun though.
It was a great time.
It was fun.
I don't think
they don't have Waffle Houses in Vegas. I don't think.
Yeah.
Everything's just open.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I just remember walking past the fortune teller booth and being like, "This is going to be the most Central Florida thing I've ever seen."
What about you guys, Ken and Courtney? I know you guys actually go to a decent amount of like Dice Tower cons and a bunch of other things like that. You haven't gone to too many of the crazy big ones, right?
No, PAX is the biggest one we've ever done.
Gotcha.
Which I was cool. Like going back to food, that market there is like that's the best. That market is the best.
It's
in the store.
amazing.
And I love how close it is. Like that's
Yeah.
sometimes my issue with like Dice Tower Con is there's not
Right.
really anything close by, and if you do go out and venture out and try to find a good place,
Takes
it's
a while
like
to get back.
it's gonna take a while, and the traffic's just
And
horrible
you
like
lose your
around
parking
there, and
spot.
you lose your parking spot. But
Oh goodness, the parking was terrible.
yeah.
But
But yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, I think I love the food and love having good food, because I think that's true on any vacation I go on. Like I'm just looking forward to like not washing dishes and eating good food and stuff like that. So
yeah.
but then like hanging out with friends and stuff, because a lot of the cons we go to now, it's like we know people that are going to be there as well, so it's fun to like meet up with them, especially if they're not from around here. And so that's what I kind of look forward to most, I think.
And as far as just the type of cons, we pretty much lean towards ones that are more gameplay focused. We like vendor halls and stuff, and we like buying cool stuff, but it's like primarily we're there for the gameplay, honestly, and meeting the people and playing with whoever we want to hang out with that day. But it's kind of fun to have a vendor hall and go and buy a few
See all
things
the
too.
stuff,
But it's
yeah.
not like we haven't done Gen Con, and it's probably one of the big factors is because it's just a vendor hall. Well, it's not obviously, but like it's not nearly as heavy focus on like that gameplay, that hanging out, and just that aspect. So
Yeah, I've been to a ton of different ones at this point. And I mean, I would agree that like I just like the ones where you get to just sit and play games with people that are very gaming focused. And one of the things I love about all of the Dice Tower events is like we very much try to foster a community where like everybody plays with everybody, And like it's not like I've been to some conventions where it's like, okay, there's game groups playing with their game groups. And if you walk up and talk to them, they think that's a little strange or weird. But I feel like at Dice Tower events, we very much foster a community where it's like everybody's talking about board games with everybody, and everybody's playing board games and mix and matching up tables. You put up a green players wanted sign, and there's people jumping in the game immediately. You put up a teachers wanted sign, and somebody's running over like, oh, I can teach this game, and I'll play it with you too, I mean, there's all of that sort of stuff, like everybody mixing and mingling together. And I don't know if that is just my experience because like I'm known throughout the Dice Tower, or it really feels like it's that way for like a lot of people, it seems, because I mean I see so many different groups like coming together and playing with a whole bunch of different people, which is really cool to see. I love Gen Con because everyone is there and everything is exciting and going on, but it's crazy, I mean, if you want to like actually, I've had so many amazing experiences and so many amazing times like talking to people that I would never get to talk to, but because I went to Gen Con, they were there, It's like, oh man, people from all over different parts of the world and like big name designers and like tons of different board game media people, like, I mean, I went to my first Secret Cabal meetups, like, and had a ton of fun at those, and like I met so many people from the industry that I'm still friends with from going to Gen Con, but it is chaotic. I definitely wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite thing to do, but I'd say if I'm talking about like one con that's my favorite or one board game event thing that's my favorite, it definitely has to be like the Dice Tower Cruise, because it's ridiculous. It's basically like another Dice Tower event. It's basically like a Dice Tower retreat-ish event, but buffets and food all the time. Like
Exactly.
And like you're saying, like sometimes it's hard to go out and get food. You just get unlimited not free pizza, but like unlimited, like you don't have to pay more money for pizza,
Right.
like whenever you want all day long. And you can just like, you can go sit and have a fancy meal if you want, or you can just go to the buffet and still have really good food. And there's all these different destinations you're stopping at. You're like, I don't really want to play board games today. I'm going to go hang out by the pool or go to this like tropical island and see what's up, But then whenever you want, any hour of the day or night, you can go play board games with people, And it's just fun.
And I was telling Kent, like, our youngest he's 2 now, but I was like, oh, next year he'll be 3, and if we get him potty trained, I was like, we can take him on the cruise. Like, we can just take all the kids. Usually, our biggest issue
And
is
the
like finding
childcare on
somebody
the
to watch
cruise
our
is
kids.
really
And so
good
I was like-
too.
I was like, well, after he gets potty trained, like, oh my gosh, we can just take all the kids on the cruise, and they can just play at the kids stuff, and we can play games all day. And I was like, that would be awesome because we don't have to worry about,
My My kids love
and
the kids
childcare.
area, and the child care stuff is there is really fun. There were so many times when we've like taken them out of the play area, and they're like, "Can't we just go back to the play area?" I'm like, "I feel bad. We're gonna go walk on this like we're gonna go walk in like Mexico or whatever, and you're not gonna get to experience that. I just want to go back to the kids area." I mean, okay, we'll have a date out on the in Mexico, and you guys can play in the kids area. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
on top
I
of
can't-
that, I think local conventions are really great too. You know, I mean, I used to go to Mace for years. You know, I mean, me and our friend Ryan and Hector like went to Mace like over a decade ago. You know, like it was one of the first like conventions that I went to where it was just people playing games. They had a little exhibitor hall. I remember like sitting down with them and like learning Gosu from the rule book out of their like library that they had. And like this was like before I was even heavily into board games. I was just like, oh, we played Magic and I wanted to go to a gaming con. It would be fun, you know. But then help the guys start up Recon or whatever, and they still have that like a couple times a year, and like there's still a ton of people that go to those. I think local conventions are great just to meet tabletop gamers in your local area that you didn't know before, you know. It's just a good way to gather, and you basically figure out the ones you like to play with, and you steal them for your home group. You know?
That's it.
Yeah. I think Mace was when I met you and Rob for the first time years and years ago. I believe that was a Mace.
It makes me sad that like Mace isn't a thing anymore, but I feel like Tantrum Con has kind of like filled its slot.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like Tantrum Con is in that area, and Tantrum Con is probably bigger than. I'm not sure. I haven't been to Tantrum Con, but it's probably bigger than
think
Mace
it is.
was.
I'm not totally sure, but I would think it is.
And the cool thing is Tantrum Con tries to bring in some content creators and stuff like that, and like, you know, those guys were part of that community before like the Mace stuff fell apart. The guy that ran Mace actually passed away, so that makes me kind of sad, but it was cool to see like so many people like bringing up gaming in these different communities. You know, it's fun. That's one of the things I do miss about down here a little bit sometimes, is that there's not a whole lot of local stuff, but we are at the Dice Tower doing Joey, who's part of the channel, now does a big game bash in Fort Myers. He runs a big like 100-person game day at like his church. Very, very similar to kind of like what Recon is doing, you know, so that's kind of cool.
Neat.
That's neat.
So is there a convention you all are, you know, on your list you want to hit? Like, what's your number one convention you want to hit
That you haven't gone to.
you haven't done?
Yeah,
know
I want
the
to do
answer.
Gen Con. I've never done it, so I want to do it. And
I'll
my
sneak
work,
you into my room. Just come this year.
it's always
It's
been
only a
about
couple weeks
schedule
away.
for me. Yeah, well, it's like CMU is there every year, because we have the Center for Game Learning and Simulation, so they always have a presence. They're doing stuff. We have an academic board game press here, so the CMU Press is like the only place I think in the country where you can put out an academic board game. This is like a pitch, I guess, and it counts towards your tenure in terms of getting published, right? So we have people who do things that are about the environment or
awesome.
about history, and the idea is that you're teaching it kind of down the ladder, like in K through 12, or like a lot of times it's for older students, so like high school or college students. It's really cool. They've always got something going. I just haven't got a chance to go out and do it with them
Oh, that's
because I
cool.
usually have conflicts, and I forget when it is this year, but I think I do have a conflict, unfortunately.
It's the very it's the very last weekend of the month or whatever. It's like past the weekend of the month. It's like the very last couple days of the month, and then like going into August.
Yeah. Well, I'll be in Scotland this year. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'll be
One
in
of these
Scotland or
years.
Germany.
I feel like next year we should be like, let's all go. Let's do it, guys.
I think that
Yeah.
we probably need to do that one of these years. Is just like get everyone committed way early so we can do it. Because I know I would like to do the cruise too. I've never been on a cruise ship. They make me very nervous. But everything else about it sounds like a great time.
It's insane. Like I before I started this job, I never thought that I'd be able to go, because quite literally it's pretty expensive, but once you're on the ship, you're kind of good. You don't have to spend any more money once you're on the ship. And when you think about it, it's like, okay, lodging for a week and like food for a week, and not just like food, but like buffets every single meal for a week. It's like, wow, this is actually not that bad of a price, you know? It's like, holy smokes. And that's just the cruise ship minus all the crazy board game stuff and all the events you get to go to, you know? So That's fun. Oh, Big Ben said that I'm contractually obligated to say the con where I proposed to Ruthie.
Yeah.
But no, I've always said that the
true.
cruise was
You
my
can't
favorite for the
say.
longest time. That's why I did it there, because it is my favorite. It's not my favorite because I got proposed. I did it there because it is my favorite. But yeah, Epic Gaming Night live from the Dice Tower Cruise. That's gonna be a pretty big internet package we would need to be able to stream. some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technical achievement.
They do charge an arm and a leg for internet on the ship, though. That is kind of
Yeah,
terrible.
they do.
Yeah.
But you kind of
Well,
have
we
to
could
have it
just
to
do
communicate
one-
with each other.
One stream, maybe that'll do it.
Just wait till you get on land. You just find like a Starbucks somewhere. You're like, all right,
Oh, there you go.
free Wi-Fi.
But yeah, what else was gonna? Oh, my one that I really want to go to that I haven't gone to is UKGE. I would love to
Oh,
go
yeah,
to the
okay.
UK Games Expo. I've never been to the UK, but also I know that the UK Games Expo just because like there's a lot of Warhammer 40K presence at that, and like that whole like area is very like Ameritrash heavy. It's like, yeah, that seems like the one I would love to go to, you know. And it'd be cool to hit up the UK, you know. So someday maybe I'll be able to make it to the UKGE.
Get Tom on that.
I know, right? They used to go way back in the day, but I don't think they've been in a while. Not since I've been there.
Gotta find the business reason.
And then also the
He's a big guy.
what is it? The Japanese game market would be really cool as well.
Oh yeah. Tokyo Game Market.
Tokyo Game Market. Yeah,
That'd be that'd be cool, but
it's only like a day though, so it's like so hard to like make that trip for like
I don't
a
know
day.
how hard that is to do.
Yeah,
Well, Roy will tell you what the flight is like. It's going to be brutal.
it's going to be brutal. It's going to be worth it, but I'm also staying there for a week. So,
Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah,
gotta
you'd
do
have
it.
to if you went. Yeah.
yeah. What about
What
you
about you,
guys?
Matt?
What about you, Matt?
Oh.
You've tried some
I
of the
mean-
bigger ones, so
Yeah, I mean, so I've been to Gen Con, PAX Unplugged, Dice Tower East, the handful of local cons that are around. I feel like the one that I really have a hankering to go to is probably Dice Tower West.
oh yeah.
Just
Oh,
'cause,
yeah.
again, it's like, play games, but you're also in Vegas.
Vegas
So,
is awesome, man.
when you draw that one card that you need, or, you hit big on Wits and Wagers Vegas edition, you start feeling yourself. You go, spend $100 on blackjack, lose it, go buy a $30 burger, then come back and play whatever. It's fine.
Hey, listen, if you go to what is it, In and Out, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. The Vegas In and Out is amazing. Just get animal style. It's so good. But there's an all you can eat sushi place there that's like me and Ruthie go there every time. It's like a tradition at this point, but it's like so good. It's so good. And Vegas is just a crazy city anyway, so
Yeah, I was gonna say I went to Vegas when I was 16, so I missed all the fun parts of Vegas and was just running around casino or Circus, just like, yeah, this is fun. This is great.
yeah.
So
I go to Circus because there's an anime shop in the mall beneath it. So. But
That's
yeah.
it.
It's interesting when you go to the same con enough times to kind of like know the lay of the land and be like, okay, I know where the con is. I know the stores
Yeah.
that are around it. It's like, okay, I go to Gen Con. Okay, I know this is where they put the food trucks. And then I'm going to go to these restaurants here. And oh, is that restaurant still there? And oh, I'm going to try this out. Like it becomes almost like a tradition when you go to these specific things, you know? It's kind of cool to like meet up with the same people and do the same sort of thing you've done before, you know? It's just something, it almost becomes nostalgic, you know? And it's like summer camp for adults, except way more exciting
Yeah, pretty much.
and way more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, so I guess all
Probably
across
better
the
food.
board, our favorite part is playing the games. You know,
Yeah.
I will say the BGG Spring was interesting because it was way more chill, and there were a bunch of designers there that I got to hang out with, so that was fun. Like people that I would normally only see at Gen Con were at BGG Spring, and then I got to hang out with them because there was not that much going on. So it's like, oh, we'll just hang around, you know, play these things. We just played a ton of each other's prototypes, so that was really fun. It was really cool to be able to like show a prototype to Eric Lang and show a prototype. I played several prototypes with Isaac Vega, and I played prototypes with a bunch of different people. It was just cool to see like big name designers play. my stuff and I played their stuff. And I mean, I know it's not like a con specifically for that, and that's just a situation that I was in, but it was just cool to see them out in the wild and not like frantically busy the way they would be at Gen Con, you know? So,
Yeah, you're hawking and pushing at Gen Con, I imagine.
like, you say hi to people, you can have some conversations sometimes, especially after the hall's closed, but like, when you're like, hey, want to play this or that, people are going to be like, I am brain dead, man. So, but I feel that. But yeah, anyway, does anybody else have any
I think-
more to add to the board game cons?
We would say probably, I would guess Essen.
Essen would probably be the long
yeah.
goal. I think Dice Tower West is the more achievable goal, but
Yeah,
like in the long
yeah.
run, maybe Essen. Yeah.
Even I think Gen Con, Dice Tower West, or even Origins would be more easy to do. But Essen is definitely probably at the top of the list.
Kent hates to travel, so I don't want to like make it
It's
a 2-week vacation or something. But
It'd be a pain, but it might be worth it to go to Essen.
Yeah, you just gotta find a way to be comfortable and chill in your. What do you hate about traveling, Kent? Is it the getting there, or is it the being there?
It's like the planning ahead of time to get everything figured out. It's the cost. It's just the time spent traveling in the airport. Like just like that kind of stuff.
Do you know how many
everything's planned
Lorcana
out-
cards you could buy for the price of that plane ticket?
Yeah, there you go. You really figured it out. That's exactly right. So it's like, I don't mind, like once I'm there and I'm in the rhythm, it's fine. But like it's just the whole like process of leading up to that and then packing and traveling and the anxiety of like what are we doing with there, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's just
I get a lot of traveling anxiety too. Like I like a trip where you just kind of go to one place and you're just there.
yes.
But
Yeah.
like that kind of trip I'm cool with, especially if I have to travel long distance to get there. It's like this one we have coming up. While I really want to do it, it's like 4 days in Scotland, 1 day in London, 4 days in Germany, potentially a day in Vienna, and I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, that
Oh my
sounds
gosh.
a little hectic.
yeah, it's like cool, but it's also like, wouldn't it be cooler if we were in one place?
That's the nice thing about the cruise. Like if you go on the board game cruise, you just go and sit on the boat and play board games and don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah,
And you're just there.
That's why I think I would like that. I have like a weird thing about like being out on the ocean. Like I just like am unsettled by it. Ironically, as I'm sitting here,
You're like
early
on a
in the
floating
podcast.
city.
you don't even
at
have
that
to go
point.
outside on the cruise. You can just spend the whole time inside the ship, and you never really have to think about like
like a total cave
like the
dweller.
fact
It's
that
so
you're-
gigantic,
that you're,
you
that
know.
you're on the
Exactly.
water. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. You can get an inside room, and those are cheaper anyway. And like
Yeah.
and you don't even have to go outside except for like the muster thing or whatever. Right? Is that what that's called?
There's a required
They do that
muster.
digitally now, and all of it's inside now. So it's
Oh,
not
well, there
even-
you
go.
It's
So
way
you don't,
easier
you
than
don't
it
even
used
have
to
to
be.
go outside.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't mind boats or anything. Like, I grew up on that. Like I grew up on Lake Erie, and it's the ocean specifically, and it's not like a fear of the boat crashing. It's more of I'm more afraid of being stuck on it if I got sick or something. Like that's what drives me nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, what if I got really sick and now I'm on a boat? Like for
Yeah.
Well, they have a hospital, like not a hospital, but they have like a clinic down
Yeah.
in the
Have a
boat,
clinic,
and then
they'll airlift you off.
and
Don't
they'll
worry about
airlift
it.
you off. Yeah, yeah.
Talk
I
to me
remember
Yeah,
hearing the
okay.
horror stories of people who got.
I was gonna say I was
quarantined on the boat.
trying to talk you guys into Gen Con, but if the cruise is an option,
ship.
that's way cooler. Honestly, I like the cruise significantly better than Gen
Yeah, the
Con.
cruise is great.
Yeah, the thing about the cruise is it's a long one and it's an expensive one, so it's like my wife probably has no interest in going on that.
What do you mean?
She's not going to
Really?
play any games. Can she? She
Who
can just
needs
You
to
do
play
all the other
games?
stuff.
Anything
You can
else,
sit
man.
by the pool, read books, and go to exotic destinations and just eat food. I mean, I think the cruise is probably the best thing to bring a significant other or even kids on because
I don't wanna
daycare
bring kids. They're
the
too
whole
old.
time,
You know what?
then like the significant other is hanging out on a cruise, so like they don't have to play games if they don't want to. You know,
Me and my wife can be there, and my son can be here doing dishes. Okay.
Nice.
Like,
yes,
He's going to be 17 this year. My kids are old, man.
yeah,
My kids, my daughter's in driver's training. You guys, it's like
That's
They're
crazy.
both going to be driving. Yeah. How did this happen to me? What did I do?
Yeah, Kent's other problem is like I'm like, we're looking at pictures of like castles or something like that. I was like, isn't that so cool? Wouldn't you want to see that? And he was like, I can just see it from the pictures or something. Okay, well, he has
That's the
no
most Kent
desire
thing
to
I've
experience anything for himself. Like he just can look at it on a picture and be like, okay, I'm good.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it looks pretty awesome.
That is
Like
the most.
there's like sea turtles that hatch like near my parents' like beach house and stuff here in North Carolina, and like every summer I'm like, oh, I would just love to be down at the beach when that's happening. Like I would just love to race out there and like watch the little baby sea turtles like go out to the ocean. He's like bringing up videos. You can look at it. You can watch
I
it
was like, this
online.
one's
It's
in-
the same
This
thing.
one's in HD and you can see it close up.
You get closer than you're legally allowed.
I'm like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. You gotta be there.
I love that for you, Kent.
Ben was saying we need to do Kent Con so that way we can come to Kent instead of having to have Kent go out.
We've talked about that actually.
Yeah.
We've talked about having Parker Con.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. We didn't mention this, but like just the small gatherings with your friends and making
Yeah.
your own cons is great. Like
Make
we've
your
done
own
that.
con.
Having
Matt,
fun.
Matt, did you go to the Roycon thing that I did forever ago?
See, I don't know.
think that might have been
happened
slightly before your time.
Yeah, I started because I started and you had the sticker board up on the wall where you were keeping track.
Yeah,
of
I kept that up for the longest time. I basically I made trophies for that, and like the tagline was like board games and bacon. So like everybody bought a ton of snacks and bacon, and I basically had the house to myself. So like I basically invited all my friends over for like a full weekend. I think it was like from Friday to like Sunday night. So it was like a full on like thing.
Yeah.
We started with Twilight Imperium and then we kept score of every single game played. I ran a tournament of Looping Louie, a tournament of Love Letter, and I think I got
Big Louie.
yes, that's
I can't
yes,
build that
100%.
game.
Yeah, I just had fun with it, and I ran those tournaments, and then we played. My friends who were there, like they still post a picture of this every single time. We played Arkham Horror with every single expansion. I'm pretty sure this is before Eldritch Horror even came out, so it was like Arkham Horror with every single expansion.
And how was what is that like 8 hours to play?
No, we
Well,
died. I mean, it
okay.
took us a while to
You
play, but we
died.
died pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That track.
We did not win.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, no. But we played so many things. But everybody was having a ton of fun because they were like tracking their wins and like we were getting points. I had like this weird system where I was like, okay, you get this many points for each win, but then you get bonus points for each like 30 minutes that you're in a game. So you wouldn't get penalized for playing longer games.
Okay.
So like people were playing all sorts of different stuff and I gave out trophies. I had a trophy for like the biggest trader. We played Battlestar Galactica and one of my friends asked for an executive order and then betrayed everybody and we're like, well, I guess you win the biggest trader because you were a dick. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it was a ton of fun. We played so many things and we had like I think we had like 3 tables of games going like the whole time, you know, and a ton of people there. I mean, people were coming in and out, but a lot of people stayed the night, you know, like slept on the couch, slept on the floor, slept in the family's bedrooms and stuff like that. So it was a house full of guys. And then like the bacon smell in my house didn't go away for like 2 months, I swear.
Yeah,
Like that-
I remember hearing about that bacon smell. Like,
Yeah.
multiple like anytime you mention that, it's like the bacon smell.
Yep.
Oh.
But it was definitely a blast. So, but yeah,
Make your own con.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
that is cool.
Probably a whole lot less expensive too.
Well, depends on how many trophies you buy and how much bacon
That's
you
true.
buy.
The cost of
Yeah, I mean-
beforehand, man.
Well, anyway,
I mean, Rob only charges me $150 a night to stay at the cabin when we do it there, so how much you guys are paying?
That's the steal.
to be able to hang out with Kent, that's priceless.
Yeah, it is priceless.
Kent just wants us to play. As long as Kent gets to play
Station.
Stationfall with you guys again. Kent's super stoked about playing Stationfall.
Oh. I feel I'm coming down with the cold.
Kent would rather
I'm
be
gonna
that
make
monkey
Kent come
floating
to
out in
grandfather.
space and like cover that than actually have to play the game again.
You just eject, yeah.
Yeah,
Eject me out into outer space.
let's blow the station up with everyone on there.
Well, I guess we can draw this thing to a close. I do want to say thank you for everybody who's come out and hung out with us in chat and the people over on Facebook. Thanks so much, everybody. And it's been fun. Let us know in the comments your favorite con. And hey, if you see Adam at a con, make sure to come up and say hi to him because he would love that. Ask
Yeah,
for his
come on.
signature, ask for a high
Oh my
five, ask for him to run a role-playing game for you. He will do all of those things.
I will sign everything in the shadow of Roy Kennedy. Cold, icy cold shadow of Roy Kennedy.
Whatever. Adam, come to more cons with me. It'll be fun. I wish I wasn't so busy at these things. I am so slammed all the time, but it is what it is.
It's all right. I remember being in this awkward situation where we were trying to walk out from one room to the other with you, and it was I don't know if you remember this, but Eric Lang was there, and you and Eric were chatting, and then we're having like this. It was like 4 people standing there having a conversation, and then like people started to descend, and I'm like, we're never gonna leave now because people recognize Roy and Eric Lang. I'm not getting to this next place. Board game famous is a weird thing to be, dude. Like,
yeah, it's only fame in a very specific spot.
Super tiny place.
Yeah, it like rarely outside of an actual board game event do you ever get recognized for anything. It's like I've gotten recognized at an anime event a couple times, but very, very rarely. And then I got recognized when I was doing my interview for La Tortilleria or whatever. Somebody came and was like, do you do the board game stuff? Like during my interview, like with the HR at the time, I'm like, yeah, but this is a weird place to be doing. Like I'm literally like interviewing for this job. But yeah, that was funny. But yeah, I've never like gotten recognized at a grocery store or at a mall or anything like that. You know, nobody cares.
No, the board game industry feels huge, and then you're like out in the regular world, and it's like
it doesn't. It's kind of cool though, because like you get a little bit of taste of that when you're in very specific pockets of people. You know,
yeah,
that's fun. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend and play all the games. We'll see everybody on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.